Imagine this, it's 1945, the World War II is over, but Italy isn't celebrating. Their factories are completely destroyed. The roads contain thousands of craters. Millions of men are walking home every single day, literally walking, because they have no money, no car, and no fuel, as well as no train. Italy is broke. Italy is broken. Then a man walked into a bombed out aircraft manufacturing factories and looked at a huge pile of scrap metal and thousands of aeroplane parts and said, I'm going to build something that will save this country. He wasn't a president, he wasn't a general, he was an engineer, and what he built was a scooter. This is a story of Vespa, and it is not a story about a machine, it's a lot more than that. Chapter 1, A Country on its Knees. To understand why Vespa matters, you have to understand how Italy looked like after the war. Bridges are completely blown up, the rail line were destroyed, roads that were connecting between two cities were just darts and debris. After the war, the average Italian family had almost nothing. The unemployment rate was catastrophic. The few cars that existed can only be afforded by the rich. The ordinary people were struggling to move from one place to another. But here's the thing about desperate time, it created desperate creativity. Indigo Piaggio, and hired to the famous Piaggio Aerospace Company, was staring at a factory in Tuscan that used to make fighter jet. Now it's not making anything. He needed a product, something that is cheap, something anyone could ride, something that will move a nation forward. He turned to his chief engineer, Corradino, who by the way invented the modern helicopter. Isn't that fascinating? And gave that man an impossible brief. Build me something that everyone could ride. Chapter 2, The Wasp is Born. The chief engineer, the get to walk. And he just didn't design a scooter. He reimagined how personal vehicle could look like. He hated traditional motorcycle. He thinks the motorcycles are dirty, hostile to the rider, and complicated. So he threw out every convention. He enclosed the engine so it could protect the rider clothes, and he moved the gearbox to the handlebar so the feet could stay planted. When Piaggio just saw the prototype in 1945, he reportedly laughed and said, "It does look like a wasp." And this is how Vespa was born. They launched the scooter in 1946 with a price tag of 55,000 lira, which wasn't particularly cheap, but the installment plan make it very affordable for the ordinary people. And the people in Italy went absolutely wild for this scooter. Within just 2 years, they sold more than 35,000 Vespas, and by 1950s they were selling 100,000, and by 1956 they were selling 1 million scooter. Isn't that crazy? But the number didn't tell the real story. The Vespa didn't just move people from A to B, it changed the Italian society. For the first time, a working class man could do a job across the town. A young woman could travel independently without a car and without a permission. It became a symbol of freedom, of rebuilding a country that refused to stay on its knees. Then the Hollywood noticed. The whole world fell in love with it. Chapter 4, More Than a Story. Here's the things get very interesting. They set up licensed manufacturing in France, UK, Germany, India and beyond. In some countries like India, interestingly, it is known as Bajaj scooter. It didn't just change the culture, it built the middle class. Millions of families across the developing world get their first taste of mobility. Back home in Italy, economists studying the Italian economic miracle of the 1950s and 60s pointed out Vespa as one of the physical symbol of transformations and design. Vespa became a template for how Italian design could be. Beautiful and functional, it opened up door for Ferrari and Fiat and entire generations of designer who put made in Italian tag on the world map. I never thought a single scooter could have this much legacy.